Can I start dropping her? Yeah.
Now, we always knew there was a well at Ballinderry, but it wasn't until this day where we actually started exploring it. So we dropped a camera down to see what we could find. Now, I don't believe in old wives' tales of hidden chambers and horror stories, but it wasn't until we started speaking to locals that we realized there was this local myth of a tunnel system that connected the old friary in Kilconnell to Ballinderry Park. And when you can kind of see this little gap in the bottom of the well, it would get you thinking about the history of this place. So in this video, we're going to try and uncover a little bit of that history. And in order to do so, we're going to examine the whole property, and in particular the stonework, because really what they did back then, 300 years ago, with stone was absolutely incredible. Let's get into it.
Will young uniform minds and uniform lines and uniform ties run round with trousers on fire and signs of desire they cannot disguise? Whilst I try to find words as light as the birds that circle above, composing the songs of love.
Now, in the past, the quality and material that was used to build stone walls was a sign of wealth. So when you see smoothly cut stones and perfect coin stones like you see in the pillar on the left there, that was all a sign of wealth, ultimately. And at Ballinderry, there's so many beautiful walls and so much beautiful stonework. Some of it obviously came down in the storm, and we'll be working to repair that. But it's in this stonework that you kind of start to get a sense of the amount of work that was involved and the history of this place. So, to put the stone back together, we enlisted Pete and, in particular, his son Rian Hayes, who, over the course of about 20 years, rebuilt the Norman castle in Crockwell. And props to them, it's an amazing property and one of the most booked Airbnbs in Europe for a long time. And we wanted to get people like this involved in repairing the stonework at Ballinderry because we wanted to do it right. We started small, and Rian here began doing some dry stone walling on some of the walls which were maybe a little bit dangerous at the property. And if we wanted to have guests here, we saw that as the first port of call, really, is getting these walls to a point where they're safe. Beautiful work he did here on this dry stone wall just beside our woodshed. And from there we kind of went to the next phase. We got some materials in, and we started to think not just about dry stone walling, but about adding mortar into the mix, as it were. And we did so with lime to keep the material used in keeping with the historic setting at Ballinderry Park. So getting the sand, water, lime mix right is really important, and we took the time to get this right under the guidance of Brian. Of course, my Jeep broke down in the process, and we got to work basically, rebuilding various walls. This one here is in the courtyard, and there's different layers to this wall where someone has rebuilt part of it. So either it was knocked or it came down, and different periods in history had its hand on this, and that was a very interesting thing to try and kind of get our heads around and blend different eras and different craftsmanship and different layers of the stone walls around the property. And then we were joined that evening by some close friends of ours, McDarrow Dwyer and Harry Fennell, and listened to a few tunes.
I will marry your daughter Janet with the grace of my right hand. Oh, I will marry your daughter Janet, and then I won't be lord of the land. She planted her on milk-white steed, self-found apple grey. Made her the lord of as much land as the right long summer's day.
The road on the way into Ballinderry was in pretty bad shape, and so we just got the guy from Esker to drop some 804 along the track on his way out, and myself, my brother and Tom got to work on laying it all out by hand with a bit of help from Danu, of course, and it was a beautiful evening. We just cracked on with the job, just using hand tools, wheelbarrows, rakes and shovels. And believe it or not, it only took us that evening to put most of this together.
And I won't let you down.
Filling in all the potholes with 804, listening to a few tunes while we did it, and just soaking in the cold but beautiful winter's evening and having a bit of fun along the way. A little before that, we had started to clear out the courtyard of all the moss and grasses which were growing there, and it was a very, very slow job, but well worth it. And then we took delivery of one of the most prized items we have here at Ballinderry. It's the David Brown 880.
Would pick up a gun, shoot up a crowd, trying to have fun. Now the Vegas lights, they won't lose their glow, and the band will play and go on with the show, and you're gonna get your turn. Yes, you're gonna get your turn.
So after Dad showing us the ropes, it was time for tractory. Now, you'll remember we did a lot of clearing in the courtyard, and that whole project really started to come together. We got it all raked out and just added a layer basically on top of what was there, because to scrape all of it out was just going to be a crazy big job and there was no need. It was just a little bit rough around the edges, and so we got to raking it out after bringing all of the stone in. Now, you'll remember from the first video what the courtyard looked like. It was kind of this mossy, grassy, overgrown looking place, and the results when we actually got this new stone in were just incredible. The contrast between the old stone and the nice neat gravel just made all of the buildings that were there just look incredible. And yes, next job is the house, giving that a clean, but yeah, it looked amazing. As well as that, then the walls started to kind of come to their completion, and whilst of course they are newer, in terms of when they were put together, so there is a difference. Rian did such a good job at blending them and making them feel like part of the original walls of the courtyard. So that was just amazing to see that come together and to watch him in his element, just doing what he does best. So thank you so much, Rian. Honestly, man. He then patched up another couple of jobs. We'd actually knocked a bit of the woodshed wall out with the tractor, and so that was like the kind of the supporting wall on the entranceway in, and that really needed to be fixed because we're in and out of there all the time getting wood for the fires, and we needed a solution for that. So he mixed up a strong mix, kind of more concrete mix, and in no time he had everything back in place, and luckily no damage done. So yeah, that was great to see. Just basically packing the wall. Now, behind the woodshed, this is where one of the most beautiful trees on the property came down during the storm, and you can see the damage it left behind it. Now, this is after we've processed the wood and cut down the tree, but you can see just what it did when the root structure came up out of the ground and pulled the wall down with it, which is just kind of shocking. The power of the storm that came through here is really evident. Now, in a way, the ivy is probably what kept some of the buildings up, particularly the woodshed. And whilst it's not good for the long-term stability of a building, it surprisingly kind of keeps everything together a little bit. So, it's just one of those things. The root structures are crazy. What happens is they grow so much that they actually form soil and then grow from within the wall. And so where the wall was damaged, it had to come down. But you can see then just how much of a beautiful opening and doorway this is actually going to be once it's finished. And this leads into the avenue that will go up to our veg garden. So it's going to be really nice to have access from that back kind of walled garden area up to the veg garden. Elsewhere in the property, a few projects left idle for a little while, including the rebuilding of the bridge. But you can see again, just from a stone perspective, the time and effort that went into building the foundation for this. And of course it's a project we'll get back to very soon. But there's only so much we can do here. And I think that's another one of these learnings, right? You can only do so much. Polytunnel as well is partway up, but the weather kind of stopped us in our tracks. That's all for today, guys. I do just want to say a massive thanks to all of you watching. If you're watching to the end, I really appreciate it. And to everyone that's come here and helped us. We're about to have 10 people here helping us, so we're absolutely blown away by the support, and couldn't be more happy to be sharing our journey with you. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.